Now, I know what you're thinking. I know this angelic voice. I know this face that belongs on the statue David. That must mean one thing, and that thing is it's hump day. And what does hump day mean for everybody? Another episode of this here, your favorite program, Compas on the Beat. Let's go. What better way to get to your weekend, honestly? There is none. Spoiler alert, here we are. Keep riding with us. Thank you very much. Let's get to another stupendous program. Let me tell you what we got today. We got a little AFC West breakdown. What? Got a little NFC West also breakdown. What? And we got a little Frown's teasing something special for you guys. He's got a little story time. Grab a beer, sit by the fire, have story time with the Compas. It's going to be a blast. Also, don't forget to check out all our social media platforms. We're on the TikToks. What? Compas on the Beat. We're on the Instagrams. What? Compas on the Beat. We're on the Twitter. What? And that one's at Compas OTB. The OTB is capital. And then also our YouTube page. We now not only have just one YouTube page, we have two. And our second page is Combat Compas. You already know we got Triple G on there. We got Boxing Legends. We got it all. We're doing it all. You already saw at Radio Row. We got Juliana Pena. And stay tuned because the Compas have some special treats for you on that Combat Compas section. It is glorious, so please go check it out and subscribe also. And help us reach our goal of getting to 1,000 followers before the NFL season. So be a friend, tell a friend. Don't worry about that. They'll love the Compas. Come open a beer. You know your boys love Modelo's, except for now he doesn't drink. God bless him. But anyway, no more dilly-dally, no delay. Let's get to this here, your favorite program. From all the way in an undisclosed location, play the music, Nando! Welcome to Compas on the Beat. I am Fernando Ramirez, and with me, as always, my co-host, my tag team partner, Gilberto Manzano, OC Register, LA Daily News. What's up, bro?
What's up, Fernando? Thank you for calling me Gilberto. You know that could be tricky sometimes for people, but we'll get into it. But I don't know why you're telling me what's up, bro. Yeah. You know the funny part, Fernando? You probably don't even know this. You froze when you did that, so it was funnier. But we will allow it. Yes, people like to say Gilberto or they don't. But enough about me, Fernando. Because you ask me the question every single week, what's up, bro? But now I'm going to return the favor and counter. What's up with you, man? I keep seeing you in California. I just saw you at SoFi Stadium. What are you doing in California? I forgot the Golden State, whatever it's called. What's up with you, Fernando? I already forgot the state moniker.
We were at SoFi Stadium. We have a special episode of Combat Compas this week. You're not going to want to miss it. There you go, Gilbert. You forgot to plug. I got it.
I set you up.
It's gonna be a good one. It's gonna be a good one. We had a lot of fun being out at SoFi Stadium. But I am back. I did leave the Notre Dame beat job. I am back in California. I believe in this. I believe in what we're doing a lot. So I felt like it was kind of time for somebody to kind of be hands-on. And maybe it's time for us to kind of keep on growing this. And I really believe in our project. And I think it was time for me to take a leap of faith and trust in it and continue to grow it. So I'm really excited about what we're doing, the shows that we got cooking up. And look, I wasn't even back a week and we're already at SoFi Stadium covering some games. I'm going to be doing some also some freelance and some other stuff, but I'm very excited about being back home and obviously getting to cover an event with you at SoFi Stadium. Again, felt kind of like home in a sense, kind of because I mean, we were there the last 2 years covering whether it was an empty SoFi Stadium or a packed SoFi Stadium. It kind of felt like being at home. But yeah, I trust what we're doing with this, and I'm really excited about the future of Compas on the Beat, and I believe in this project. So I think it's time that we kind of take a leap of faith with it, and that's what I'm doing right now.
Well, welcome back, Fernando. We love you here in California. You're close by. You're in San Diego, but still close enough to LA. And yeah, you know, we've spoken about it before, and I know you probably don't want to go into too much details, but I'll just say this: you decided to try something new, and people respect that. We all got to try new things, and it just didn't work out. And your heart says you want to be here in California, and putting, or putting most of your focus and making it a priority. Compas on the beat, and that's awesome for you and for us, because I'm eager to see what you do in this kind of focus of Compas on the beat. And we have some plans cooking, and welcome back. And I'm eager to see, what do we do with a full-time Fernando on Compas. And we'll get into that on Combat Compas, but we're already making noise. So welcome back, and again, appreciate you for all the work you do.
I'm gonna pull a Dan and Dago, and I'm gonna go, thank you very much. So and then also, like, really, like, being at Dan's, my brother had his coaching debut on Saturday, and man, thinking about me like missing something like that was like, oh, like, it was heartbreaking. And like being there on Saturday, I got to see him coach, and it's incredible, because you've seen my brother gets fired up, but when he's with the players, he's so, and they were losing at one point, they weren't doing too well, but Daniel was so relaxed, so zen, trying to help the players. And you're just like, who is this guy? That's not my brother, who I see cursing out every single player on Sundays when he's watching the Chargers play. But it's a good to be back home with family. And like I said, seeing you was obviously awesome, getting to tag team that event and everything. So I'm definitely excited for what we got going, and definitely, Gilbert, I'm ready to kick some ass and put Compas on the map. Not just here. I feel like in LA and in San Diego we're making some noise, but I kind of want to start making our way. I ain't going back to the Midwest, but I'm saying, like, making our way out that way, and making some noise on the other side of the country as well.
Yeah, we're gonna go national. We already released Combat Compas. That's a national sport: MMA, wrestling, boxing, all that. But Fernando, I'm guessing you might keep it regional, with a local football team that you kind of know well. We'll see, but
yeah,
we'll see about all the news and the shuffling we're gonna do.
Yeah, I know exactly. So we got some good stuff going on, and guys, don't forget, we have some good stuff cooking up. Like we said, we were able to talk to some really cool wrestlers, and it's funny because some athletes kind of shy away from talking to us sometimes, but the wrestlers were they were having fun with it. Any way I was throwing it, or any curveball I try to throw at them, they'd start laughing, getting a kick out of it, interacting back. So Gilbert and I just kept on laughing. But one thing I do want to say, and Gilbert, I mentioned this to Brock Anderson a little while ago, is that we were an hour into the event. I know this should be for Combat Compas, but I'm going to say it here. We're 1 hour into the event, and I didn't see Uncle Joe Reedy anywhere. And I'm like, I wonder where he is. He walks in like a G, and right away, WWE gives him the 3 top superstars that they had there. I'm like, wow, it must be nice to be Uncle Joe Reedy, and you just walk in whenever, and you get the guys that you want. So shout out to Uncle Joe Reedy on that. But I just thought that was hilarious, and I had to mention
you got to save material for the new show, Combat Compas. Before we get moving, we did create a YouTube channel for Combat Compas. Please subscribe. Do us a favor, subscribe to this one, Compas on the Beat, and then subscribe to the other one, Combat Compas. So again, we're doing big things. Check out that audio and video that comes out Thursday, and please subscribe to the new channel, Combat Compas.
So obviously, let's get into some NFL talk, because I mean, that's why we're here. That's the only reason why we're here. I mean, why do people care about us anyway? I mean, we're just here to talk NFL. So Kyler Murray took over play calling duties in the fourth quarter for the Cardinals. I think he should keep his regular job. It didn't go very well. Do you think that hurts his image, or does it help it a little bit, because he was helping his teammates, or do you think it kind of helps his image because of the whole he doesn't watch film, all that stuff? What are you thinking?
Yeah, it's another kind of bad stigma is going to stick now. Like, he doesn't put enough focus into the film room. He's playing video games, and then people are not going to say, well, if he would put more focus into the film, he would know the plays better. It's just a bad look all around. And maybe if the Cardinals didn't create this weird clause in the contract, this wouldn't be an issue at all. But yes, a bad look, but he's still a young quarterback. Eventually, you got to do what Aaron Rodgers does and Tom Brady.
I agree with you. I think it hurt him a little bit just because of everything that's going on. Obviously, there's a third string quarterback in there who's not going to be with the team, but at the same time, I mean, it kind of hasn't been ever since signing that contract. It's been the film review. He's gotten COVID, and now this. I mean, it's a little bit of a
Fernando, the
rough start
ticker.
for Kyler Murray.
It's time to move on. There's a ticker.
Oh, okay. Sorry.
You didn't even introduce a ticker, by the way.
Oh, yeah. We have a new ticker up there. It's at 49 seconds. So, obviously, there's been talk about Deshaun Watson getting suspended for a year. That's the way that the NFL is leaning. If so, Jimmy G, should he be on the Browns' radar? Should they trade for him? Are they a quarterback away from being a Super Bowl winning team? What says you?
If you're Jimmy G, you probably don't want to go there. It kind of feels like a throwaway year. Don't do it. Just stick it out with Jacoby Brissett and then worry about Deshaun. It's just a mess. That's all I got to say.
I just saw a story that Jimmy G, when he signed his extension a couple of years ago, he ignored the team all off season and he just showed up for training camp. That they knew nothing about him. So I thought that was a pretty interesting story. But next one, you remember we talked to him at the combine, the punt god Matt Ariza. I thought he was fun to talk to. I remember we asked him about, hey, if you're on the Chargers and you don't get to punt because they go for it on fourth down, what would you feel like? And he's like, hey, if we're winning, I don't care. He punted a ball that was 82 yards during the Colts-Bills game. Are you disappointed that he ended up in Buffalo and not like a warmer climate city where he might be able to boot it? Because you know what happens in Buffalo in December and in January. You kick it and they ain't going 82 yards. It's probably only going 30 to 50 yards.
Honestly, he might be in the right situation because his leg is too strong. Like that kick was nice, but it went into the end zone, and you don't want that. You want it to fall and play. So maybe his leg is too strong, and somewhere else, in California, it will be a lot of touchbacks and stuff like that.
I agree. I think his leg is strong enough. Now let's see if he makes the team. I know that Buffalo has some guys contending for the team, but I really do think that he'll make the team. Thank you for that ticker. Now get it the hell out of here. Let me smack it out of here. I don't need it anymore. Now let's get into some. We're done with the NFL news. Now let's get into some baseball. The Compas talking baseball. Yeah, we are. Gilbert, the hammer came down. I mean, the Padres end up trading for Juan Soto. Everyone's excited. Oh my God, is it going to be Dodgers Padres and before they go to the World Series? What's going to happen? And the hammer gets brought down. Fernando Tatis Jr. suspended 80 games for an illegal substance. Now, there's been a lot of talk. His mom said that he had a ringworm. Then the dad comes out and he starts saying that it was he needed to use a spray because he got fungus due to a haircut. So I don't know who the hell to believe. Even Tatis' statement was a little weird. But Gilbert, to me, it's a little strange that his teammates have come out and these are some of the things that they've said. Joe Musgrove, he's a young kid. He's going to learn from the lessons and whatnot. But ultimately, I think you got to start showing a little bit of remorse and you got to start showing us that you're committed and you want to be here. Doesn't stop there. Mike Clevenger, this is the second time we've been disappointed with him. You hope he grows up and learns from this, and he learns that it's more than just him right now. Manny Machado, his big brother, we've gotten to this point without him. Gilbert, God Almighty, what do you make of all this?
First of all, if Manny Machado is saying things like that, a guy who's had his own issues with kind of maturity and stuff like that, that's a big red flag. And look at you, Fernando. You know, you come back to California, you're wearing your San Diego hat, and you throw in baseball into this the show that's mostly about NFL. But it's okay. I'll let it slide. It's a big topic. You, Fernando, guys are just causing trouble. You coming back home.
I said I don't know if he deserves a Fernando name. We're honorable people. We work our asses off. No, all right. No shortcuts here.
So he's going to get kicked out from the Padres and getting kicked out from the Fernando Club. So a really bad week for Tatis Jr. And I got to say, you know, like a year ago, maybe 2 years ago, I was really hyped for this guy. I got excited.
You were.
It's what you needed in baseball, electric. They didn't care about the old rules. And now he just doesn't care about anything at all. The motorcycle, the suspension. And the biggest thing is for the teammates to be saying that. Usually when guys have like a little mistake here and the guy's really good it's all right, let him do his suspension, he'll come back. But nobody's saying that. People are saying like, this guy had it coming. He's immature. He's not part of the team. So he got paid, he got his money, but overall, it's just when you have that contract. I hate to be this person. It's like, hey, you got to be like a ambassador for the team. You're the face of the franchise. I hate saying that, yeah. But he's just taking it to a whole different level where he just doesn't want to really be there, get his money, and I don't know, Fernando, you're more locked in on this, but to me, it's just like it's a bad luck. And a shame for baseball, who needs more star players, and he was one of them. And now I don't know where he goes from here.
Gilbert, the general manager, AJ Preller. I think we're hoping that from the offseason and now that there would be some maturity. And obviously with the news today, it's more of a pattern and something we've got to dig a little bit more deep into. I'm sure he's very disappointed, but at the end of the day, it's a thing that you need to, or it's one thing to say it. You have to start showing it with your actions. Eso arde. That's pretty. I mean, if you're, and you know what's funny, or not funny, but on Thursday, he's supposed to meet in front of the team, apologize. Ugh. He's meeting with AJ Preller, and then he's meeting with Bob Melvin. Gilbert, I don't know. I don't know.
I want to be there. I want to see what
I want to be a fly on the wall for that. I just don't know if the team's going to be able to trust him, especially with what's going on. I mean, you saw the way they Mike Clevenger hasn't been here that long. Machado's obviously been here, but like some of these guys haven't been here that long, and they're already like they're literally crapping on them, and deservedly so. Like Tatis, you literally you kind of took away the baseball bat out of your team's hands, and now the Padres are starting to struggle. I think their one gleaming hope was, okay, we're struggling a little bit, but Tatis is going to come back. He'll help us. He'll move us. And now he's not going to. You know what the worst part is too? He's not even allowed to play in the Dominican League for their World Series next year. So he can't play he can't play in the rest of the season for the Padres, and I think he's suspended for the first 40 games of next season. So it's pretty rough.
Before we end this, Fernando, and move on to our previews, AFC West, NFC West. Do you want him out of town? Trade? Do you see a trade coming, or they're going to try to stick it out?
I think it's going to depend on his if it's a BS apology on Thursday and you don't feel remorse, because remember when he talked about the motorcycle accident, they asked him, well, which motorcycle accident? Really? So if
can't even lie, right?
I think they're gonna ask the players, hey, what do you guys? I think it's gonna be a player's decision. And the way it's sounding, I wonder if the players are gonna want to keep him. But man, you really just put a nail into what the AJ Preller was building. And you now have Juan Soto, Manny Machado, and it was supposed to be Fernando Tatis, and now you've completely screwed it. But Gilbert, talking about somebody who doesn't screw it and who's a centerpiece here at Compas on the Beat, I think it's time we go with your boy Dan and Dago and see what he's got cooking up for us.
You guys heard it. Fernando is back because he believes at what we're doing here at Compas on the Beat. If you want to get on the ground floor, come on. Don't be shy. Them DMs are open. The email is open, and the email is compasonthebeat@gmail.com. Do not fret. Do not worry. We'll open up some Modelo's, kickback, chacotear, and we can have a nice little discussion. Don't you fret about nothing. Remember, you're getting the best promo reader in the game. And to be the man, you gotta beat the man. And I have not been knocked off my pedestal yet. And now, quit the dilly-dally. Here we go. We're gonna break down the AFC West, the very loaded AFC West, which I enjoy competition. Let's see it. And we're also going to break down the NFC West with the reigning, defending, undisputed Super Bowl champions, the Rams, and everyone else in there. The Niners, we're going to see what they do, but I'm not going to tease anything. Let's just get to it.
Thank you so much, Dan, for that. He loves saying your name. I don't think there's a better person that can say your name more than he can. And if I was you, I would hire him. And I know I've already pitched it to Chargers PR. If Justin Herbert needs a mouthpiece, it should be Dan and Dago. Gilbert, you can snatch him up before Justin Herbert takes him. He could be your mouthpiece.
Yeah,
everyone needs a Paul Heyman.
Not for me, but like I've mentioned, Gilberto is not an easy name to pronounce for people, and we're doing like a big tease for this because we have something big coming for Una Mas.
It's fun
on the name, but yes, your brother kind of made the name popular, and maybe he is a little bit of my hype man.
It's funny because at training camp, I remember last year, everybody would be like, Gilberto, and you'd be walking down the side, and we'd just be getting a kick out of it. But speaking of kicks, Gilbert, we're obviously you've gotten out of the NFC West, but we got to preview the AFC West, your old beat for 4 years. So let's start off with Kansas City. So obviously Tyreek Hill is now gone. It is now obviously Travis Kelce, Patrick Mahomes, Juju Smith-Schuster, Marquez. No, Valdez Scantling. There you go. That's his name.
MVS, Fernando.
Huh?
MVS.
There you go. So obviously it's gonna be a different kind of offense. Patrick Mahomes came out this week and he said that this offense is going to be a harder to game plan for opposing defenses than it was with Tyreek Hill. Gilbert, do you believe that? Or do you feel like it's just him kind of trying to throw teams off and saying, hey, we're still dangerous no matter if we have Tyreek Hill or not?
Yeah, I don't know if I believe it, but what else can you say? You can't be like, hey, we lost Tyreek Hill, the most dangerous weapon in the NFL. We're going to suck now. You cannot say that, but there is some truth there that now, the offense maybe will expand and you can't just, focus on Kelce and Tyreek and you got to focus on these other receivers. But again, when you name those receivers, you just name Fernando, it doesn't strike a lot of fear into opposing defenses. So I know Juju was once a good receiver, but he hasn't done it recently. MVS couldn't do it with Aaron Rodgers. So I have concerns about the receivers. But, when you're getting predictable and you've been at the top of the game for 5, 6, 7 years, whatever Mahomes has been around for, maybe it's not a bad thing to evolve and adjust because, as you know, Fernando, in the NFL, people catch up. It's a copycat league. They'll try to figure you out. They break down film. So maybe evolving could be better for everybody. But again, it's going to take some time. And I don't know how much I buy this whole, hey, we're going to be a lot more dangerous without Tyreek.
Right now, I just pictured in my head Rob Schneider and the Waterboy. Oh, no, we suck again with what you just said. But Gilbert, I think this offense is going to change. Why do I think this is going to change? I don't think those receivers are going to be the difference. I think what's going to be the difference is the different ways that Andy Reid is going to use these running backs. Clyde Edwards-Helaire, Jerick McKinnon, and Ronald Jones, the Ronald Jones from USC that won a Super Bowl with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. I think they're going to use their running backs in different ways. I think they're going to use that the receiver that they drafted, Sky Moore. I think they're going to use him in different ways. I think we're going to see a different kind of Chiefs offense than we're used to. Yes. I don't know if it's going to still be explosive. I don't know if they're going to be able to put up the video game numbers that they put up before. But I'm really interested to see kind of what this Chiefs offense is going to be, because I remember at times teams would try and double team Tyreek Hill and Travis Kelce would come open. You double team Travis Kelce, Tyreek Hill comes open. Is there going to be somebody that can match that with Travis? Is somebody else going to be able to be that kind of weapon for them this season? Remains to be seen, but I'm interested to see if somebody can do that with that offense. Patrick Mahomes is still dangerous. He's still Patrick Mahomes, but can they duplicate what they did the last few years? I just don't think that they're going to be able to do that.
Yeah, before we move on, to the other side of the ball or whatever team we have next, Fernando, is the more you start listing players, the more I dislike the Chiefs roster. It's just like it's Travis Kelce and a bunch of guys.
Yeah.
These running backs haven't done much, and Andy Reid is not known for running the ball heavily anyways, but he's known for making it work with what he has and being efficient. So I won't count out, the best quarterback in the game and Patrick Mahomes and a play caller who's done it every year. Yes, Fernando, I said what I said. And we don't have to get into it. Who's better than Patrick Mahomes? But Andy Reid,
Edward,
he's
Patrick,
50. Who?
Brady.
Anyways, Andy Reid has been the play caller for a long time, and Eric Bieniemy is there too. So they have coaching consistency. They have the best quarterback in the game. They'll figure it out, and the best tight end in the game.
Does Patrick Mahomes go to Peru to go figure out what he needs for his body that season? Does he?
Aaron Rodgers hasn't won a Super Bowl since Mahomes was 5 years old. So
since we were still in high school. Now going back to the Chiefs defense, do you feel like they added enough? I mean, they drafted Trent McDuffie I remember you liked him coming out of Washington. They also drafted the pass rusher George Karlaftis. They added guys like Carlos Dunlap, Mike Dana was already there. They got I can't remember who's the other guy that Danny Sheldon. They added some guys. Gilbert, I feel like the Honey Badger's no longer there. He went back to New Orleans. Justin Reed is the guy there. I think this defense might be a little bit worse than it was last year, Gilbert, especially without the Honey Badger was all over the field. I don't know if Justin Reed can be what the Honey Badger was.
I think you're right there, but there's just a lot of unknown. Like, what if Karlaftis and McDuffie actually end up being really good rookies and they improve the defense because they now have talent. It's just unknown talent, so it's kind of hard to figure out. And they have Chris Jones still there, and
I'm a good defensive coordinator in Steve Spagnuolo.
Yeah, and I'm always kind of up and down on Frank Clark, so they have something up top. But it's not the best defense, but they have playmakers, and this is one thing I'll say I'm concerned about for now, because I used to always say this. I used to say the defense, it doesn't matter how bad they are, they're gonna put up points with Tyreek Hill, Patrick Mahomes, Travis Kelce. What? Now we get rid of no Tyreek Hill. Are they going to put up the same amount of points with a bad defense? It could be an issue. Fernando, you got me thinking. I really like the Chiefs, and now the more I talk about it, I'm starting to get off the wagon. But let's move on.
And just really quick, the one positive that they have on their defense, Willie Gay and Nick Bolton. I think they're both very good linebackers. Nick Bolton really shined last year in that Thursday night game against the Chargers. Speaking about the silver and black. Let's get ahead now to the Raiders. Obviously, they made some noise this offseason. A lot of people were surprised when Rich Bisaccia did not get the job after he took them into the playoffs. They bring in somebody familiar to the AFC West in Josh McDaniels. We met him in Indy, Gilbert. Remember he said what's up to us, introduced himself to all of us, so that was pretty cool to get to meet him and everything. Now they traded for Davante Adams. Now that they have him, do you feel like the connection with him and Derek Carr will right away will show week 1 against the Chargers, or do you think it's gonna take a little bit of time, especially because they haven't played together in 6-7 years?
I'll lean on, it will be pretty instant chemistry because of the friendship. They're really close friends. Like put it this way. Davante Adams left Aaron Rodgers because that's how much he loves Derek Carr. That's his best friend. I think when you have that kind of mutual respect there and friendship, it's quick. And you can say into it, but like when you're also calling him a Hall of Famer, there's a lot of love right there and there's chemistry. So I will say Davante Adams and Derek Carr will be fine. Just to go a little more off on that, I like the offense for the Raiders. I like Hunter Renfrow. I think he's underrated. And Michael Davis keeps getting, on the highlight reel of Hunter Renfrow for that ankles being broken. And I don't know what's going on with Darren Waller. We should maybe ask Vic, or if Fernando. But Darren Waller is a good tight end if he's available. And overall, I like this offense. I don't know how much I believe in Derek Carr, but I think this chemistry with Davante will help in the beginning.
I can't remember if it was our producer Victor who told me, but I think somebody told me that they're a Colton Miller injury away from being a bad offensive line. So that's going to be interesting to see also the offensive line and what way they're going to be able to, if they're going to be able to keep Derek Carr upright, especially because we all know the pass rushing here in the AFC West has gone up. But I also think the chemistry is gonna be good with them right away, just because obviously Derek Carr and Davante Adams know each other. They put up video game numbers at Fresno. I'm sure that they're gonna put up some good numbers here. Now the only question is, are you gonna double team him and leave everybody else one-on-one, or what teams are gonna do it? So week 1, I'm interested. It's gonna be J.C. Jackson against Davante Adams right away, and you get some fireworks already. But speaking of pass rushers, Gilbert. I felt like the Raiders did a good job in getting Chandler Jones. They keep Max Crosby, but will they be good enough to help the defense stop opposing offenses, especially because their secondary is probably about, I think, bottom tier of the NFL. I don't know what you think, but but obviously, do you think that they're good enough to be able to stop opposing offenses?
I might piss off the producer of the show, Victor, with this because he's a Raiders fan, but outside of Chandler Jones and Max Crosby and Denzel Perryman, is a former Charger, I can't really name the rest of this defense. I have concerns for the defense. The secondary has been pretty terrible for the last 10 years. I don't know how much better they got. I know they traded for some guys in the secondary. Rock Yas, I forgot his last name. Whatever. There you go, Rock Yasin. And other than that,
Nate Hobbs.
So they have some bodies there, and then it's a new regime, and maybe they'll figure it out. I do like the DC. He came over from the Giants. He's really good. So maybe he'll figure it out with that 3-4 scheme. It's pretty kind of relatable to what Staley does and Raheem Morris and those guys. So I just don't like the defense. I like the pressure they're going to bring with Max Crosby and Chandler Jones. I think Chandler Jones still has plenty left in the tank. That's a great 1-2 punch, but I don't think they have enough on defense, Fernando.
My only thing is that Chandler Jones has kind of been injured a lot lately, the last few years, and that's the kind of the concern that you take with getting him and a Khalil Mack and some of these older guys is that they've been. I mean, Khalil Mack has only been injured last year, but Chandler's kind of been hurt the last few. Last year, though, maybe I'm wrong on this. I think he had a game where he had like 4 sacks, and I think it was against the Panthers. Chandler Jones did. So I mean, he's still got it. He's still one of the best pass rushers out there. I'm interested to see. I know his name had come up with the Chargers during free agency, but I'm interested to see kind of what their pass rush is going to do. But I'm with you. I think their defense is going to be that good. I think it's going to be. It's against Russell Wilson. I think their weakness also, like Vic is trying to tell us, is also going to be D tackle, similar to the Chargers. They had some weaknesses there, so maybe it's going to be running the ball against the Raiders, but.
I'll give some more love to the Raiders. They have a good special teams unit. The kicker's good. The punter's good. They have Pro Bowlers there. Let's not forget the special teams.
Yeah, no. Yeah, for the brand. Obviously, Carlson is one of these guys that he just doesn't miss at Allegiant Stadium. So he's going to be very good. He's a very good kicker, and obviously he came out of nowhere for them. So a diamond in the rough, I guess. But now let's move on to the Chargers. They were the 3rd team last year. They almost made the playoffs. They had that incredible shootout with the Raiders on Sunday Night Football. Gilbert, obviously you were there on Saturday. It was a little bit of Storm Norton mixed in with a little bit of Trey Pipkins. I honestly didn't think we'd get to this point with either one of them being named the starter. I keep on hearing that both of them are so good and they both add so much to the offense. I still don't see it, but do you feel like the right tackle position will the right tackle position be able to hamper the Chargers, not hamper the Chargers offense in 2022?
This is nice, Fernando. I'm talking Chargers again. Look at us. People are going to not talk Chargers anymore, but here we are talking Chargers. And I've been following this story because, I was there for the 2022 offseason, and the right tackle position was something they did not address. So I think it is a good question. Will the right tackle position doom the Chargers? Because it did. Let's be real. It did a year ago in that, win in your end game where Crosby took over and dominated Storm Norton. And I think off of that game, I left a bad taste in everybody's mouth. So I think that's why Trey Pipkins is getting more of an opportunity. I think you mentioned he was a starter. So again, I didn't see much from either guy. I was focusing more on the Rams. I'll say that. But again, we know the names. We know the history of Trey Pipkins, Storm Norton. It's not going to get it done when you're facing the top defensive lines of the AFC West or the AFC. So they could get by, just kind of play to the left side. Zion Johnson had a decent, debut at right guard. So they don't have to go totally to the left side, but I think it's going to hurt them eventually, Fernando.
Yeah, you don't have Michael Schofield in there the way you did last year. So now it's Zion looked pretty good on Saturday. So, I mean, he had a mistake here or there, but I really do think that the Chargers are going to need to put their best foot forward because that right side, I mean, it didn't really come up until that last game against the Raiders, but they're going to need to have their heads on a swivel because that right side could really screw them if it comes down to it. I want to ask you this, but I feel like we need to jump to it.
All right.
Derwin James still doesn't have a contract. Yesterday was day 14 of him not having a contract. After practice, Brandon Staley was asked about the hold-in, and he said, I don't look at Derwin as a safety. I look at Derwin as an impact player. I think if you're just looking at him as a safety, that wouldn't be doing Derwin justice. For me, I look at the play as a defensive back. I look at him to play as a defensive back. when I see him, I'm like, that's a defensive back because he can play anywhere. He can play either safety spot, he can play corner, he can play star or money. He can rush the passer. He can make an impact as a blitzer. He can make an impact in man-to-man coverage, and then he can make an impact in zone defense.
That's a long list,
whether he's playing low or playing high, he's our signal caller and he's the heartbeat of this defense. I think I think Brandon just helped David Mulangetta and Derwin James make their case.
He is talking to Tom Telesco. I don't want to start drama, but it sounds like he's talking to the GM and saying, "Get it done. Don't treat this guy like a safety. This guy is more of a everything." Actually, he's not just defense. He's pretty the heart and soul of the offense. So he does everything. And before I ask you the question, Fernando, I'll say this about Derwin James. Hopefully the Chargers are not treating him as just a safety. This guy does so much, and I get the injuries. That's part of the negotiations there, and I think Tom Telesco is maybe to a fault a good negotiator because usually he gets his way, and sometimes it just becomes messy and it goes the way they want. But the injuries could be a factor. But shout out to Jeff Miller, Chargers beat reporter of the LA Times. He compared a contract that again he had the same agent. Jalen Ramsey, I get he plays cornerback, but he does the star position. He does everything that Derwin James does: safety, dimebacker, slot, outside, everything. I get Jalen does the cornerback stuff better, but on the flip side, Derwin does the pass rushing and the safety stuff better. So just take the Jalen Ramsey contract and give him that one because I think that's his value there. I know it's too tricky to get into the cornerback scale. From safety to cornerback is a big jump, Fernando, and that's where it's getting messy. But take the Jalen Ramsey contract and call it a day. Jalen will probably get paid again in a couple of years and surpass that. But the question I have for you, Fernando, is are you now getting concerned? Because I told you last week, this is getting messy. It's getting ugly. I see it as a concern. I don't know what you were saying now.
Well, I told you last week that if we get to the Cowboys versus Chargers joint practice and he still doesn't have a contract, it's going to start getting concerning, and it's starting to get to that point. Why? Because it's there. Because Derwin is your best player. Derwin and Justin Herbert are your best players, but Derwin's more than just a player. He's an ambassador for your team. Gilbert, you and I remember Justin Herbert gets drafted. Who's the first person that he met? Derwin James. Brandon Staley gets hired. Who's the first person that he meets? Derwin James. All these guys. Who's the first person that reached out to Khalil Mack? Derwin James. He is an ambassador for the team. He really has become more than just a player for the organization. He's become an all-around face of the franchise that not even, and I'm going to be honest, not even the old regime would do that. So I am starting to get a little concerned. It has to be Derwin. It has to be they have to give him the contract. And I know next season you're going to have to give Justin his contract if you want. If not, you can wait another year, but it's only going to get more expensive. But I do think that they need to give Derwin James his contract.
They got to get it done, Fernando. And this is the last thing I'll say on the Chargers because we got to move on. We got a bunch of teams to get through today. It's a very telling sign that this defense is not ready to go yet because guys who you expect to be playing a lot of snaps were playing in the preseason. Michael Davis, Cherry Tillery, Morgan Fox, Asante Samuel Jr. surprised me, but these are a lot of players who are going to have a big role, and that tells you they're unproven to Staley, and we'll see how that goes.
Definitely. Moving on to the Broncos, it is year one for Russell Wilson. Gilbert, Tom Brady won 2 years ago. He won the Super Bowl as a year one quarterback on a new team. Last year was Matthew Stafford. Could Russell Wilson be a year one quarterback winner, Super Bowl winner?
I don't see it. I see a lot of holes on this roster, and we kind of been saying it throughout the whole offseason. Yeah. I think their wide receivers are a little overrated.
They lost him, Patrick.
Yeah, injuries again. Their offensive line is shaky. They're not consistent. I kind of like their running backs, but Melvin Gordon, a year older. The younger one, I'm already blanking, Fernando. He's better.
Javonte Williams.
There you go, Javonte, which had a nice big screen run against the Chargers last year. I remember him. And then the defense, I keep saying it. Yeah, the defense is nice, it's stacked. But the reason why that part that mostly worked is because Vic Fangio is a mastermind on defense. Now you lose that, and you have a first-year head coach and Nathaniel Hackett who focuses more on offense. I don't know. A lot needs to go right for this to work out. Maybe they'll be a playoff team, but I'm just not ready to go all in on let's ride.
Let's ride. They lost a lot of pieces also on that defensive side of the football. So I mean, it's going to be interesting to see. And then they added Randy Gregory, who I'm not completely sold on. So I'm definitely with you. Now let's move over to the NFC West, NFC West. That is your bread and butter, Gilbert. That is the that's where you that is the conference that you cover now. That is you choose the church's parking lot. That's where you're going to be walking from.
Well, Fernando, I just found this out. Church's Chicken is no longer there because the Clippers arena tore it down. I saw that the other day. Yeah.
Oh, that's where the Clippers arena is going to be.
Yeah, across the street. So
yeah, that's going to be. I'm
R.I.P. Church's Chicken.
Hey, but starting off with let's start off with the Niners. Trey Lance is now taking over. I told you last week that Jimmy G is no longer around the team. They don't want him around the team because it's Trey Lance. He had a pretty good touchdown pass over the weekend in his first preseason game. It was like a 70-yard bomb. Now that he's taken over, what does that mean for the 49ers? And can they contend again and make a postseason run with Trey Lance at quarterback?
What does it mean, Fernando? I think it expands the playbook. You could do more with Trey Lance, a stronger arm, mobile, all that creativity that Kyle Shanahan is known for. I think it's going to help out the running game more to have a mobile quarterback. And Kyle Shanahan and that zone blocking scheme is amazing. So that's where it really gets intriguing. What I'm concerned about with Trey Lance is being inexperienced. Can he command the huddle? Is he accurate enough? Can he read defenses? All that stuff that I mentioned before. It's nice. It's a nice skill set, but you still got to do the fundamentals, learn how to play the defense, know how to run an offense, quick tempos, 2-minute drill, all that stuff. I don't know with Trey Lance yet. We haven't seen it, but to have the skill set and have the talent could do wonders for Kyle Shanahan. It's kind of like a little bit with the Rams where it's not the same thing because experience is so much different, but from going from Goff to Stafford, McVay was like, okay, now the playbook is open. There's so much you could do. But Trey Lance doesn't have the experience. So that's what really concerns me about the 49ers this year.
I can't wait to see Trent Williams go in motion again and then come and just bulldoze people over. I love that. I wish more teams would do stuff like that. Like, can you imagine Rashawn Slater in motion and just comes around and helps on the right side of the offensive line? You know what? The Chargers did do that though, right?
I think about it when you brought it up, like he's done that.
Yeah, he's done that before. So creativity. I think Trey Lance adds a little bit of a weapon, but I think 49ers fans need to be patient, and that's the problem. You're 3 years away from being a bogus non-holding call away from winning the Super Bowl, a Jimmy G almost laying it in the breadbasket, and the receiver walking into the end zone away from winning the Super Bowl. You had a couple of torn ACLs in 2020, 2021. Again, you made it to the playoffs. You just need to be patient with this kid. And that's what I preach to 49er fans. Be patient. Rome wasn't built in a day. And I know people hate that saying, but they're just going to need to be patient with the kid. And I feel like the defense is going to be good enough to help them contend, but I just don't see them going that far just because Trey Lance is still a rookie. But going now to the Cardinals, Gilbert, we talked a little bit about Kyler Murray. Do you feel like him and Cliff Kingsbury can make this work? I mean, I know both of them, como decimos en español, a huevo lo tienen que hacer because they both got contract extensions, but do you feel like they can make this work?
Yeah, they pretty much said that they're here as a partnership for the long haul. I don't know if that's the right move because, yeah, Cliff got them to the playoffs, but he has a track record of when you face a team twice and you go into the second half of the year, he doesn't do well, and he's getting out coached in big performances or big vital game. So I don't know about Cliff. Yeah, he got them to the playoff. That's a big start, but it took him 3 years to finally get there. It could be slow progress, but he got paid. And again, this Kyler thing with everything going on that doesn't really involve too much football, it's just messy. And I don't know if Kyler Murray is the answer just yet. He's exciting. He has electric moments, but you got to pay quarterbacks, and he got paid. And I don't know if it's gonna be a happy marriage, but they're going for it.
There's going to be no DeAndre. Oh, my God. I have ice in my mouth. My bad.
Come on, Fernando.
No DeAndre Hopkins the first 6 games. That's going to be rough for him. I know they got Hollywood Brown in that trade during the draft. I don't know how much that's going to help. I know that they were quarterback and they were a good duo back at Oklahoma, but I just don't know if that's going to translate here. Their defense is a little bit concerning just because they do have some playmakers, but I just don't know how much they're going to be able to rely on that defense. The defense also kind of doesn't do well the second time that they see another team, so that's going to be something to monitor. The Seattle Seahawks, Gilbert, a little bit ago, we got breaking news that Drew Lock has tested positive for COVID, that he possibly will be missing the game this weekend. I think Drew Lock needs all the practice that he can get. I know they have good receivers, DK Metcalf. They have Tyler Lockett, and they have Noah Fant, who comes over with him from the Broncos. They have a good partnership, but do you feel like Drew Lock is the answer for the Seahawks, or do you feel like it's just going to be a one-year wonder with him, and we're going to see Geno Smith play quarterback at some point this season because Drew Lock just isn't the guy?
I'm not even sure he's going to get the starting job right now. I think he's competing with Geno Smith. It sounds like it's close. And then Drew Lock just got COVID, so he's going to be behind. It's just a mess at quarterback for them. That's just, they did not even try to find somebody who's decent to compete. I think they're trying to think about 2023. But I want to see more of Rashad Penny. I really like what he did to close out the year. San Diego State product. Fernando,
he can be there in 2023.
I don't know, but they finally did something. The offensive line they drafted, was it Evan Neal? I forget. The tackle. Let me look that up.
Charles Cross,
one of those
he
guys.
did well over the weekend.
Yeah, he had some nice flashes. And they're gonna be a ground and pound kind of team. But overall, DK is good and Tyler Lockett is good, but when you have Geno or Drew as your options, it's not gonna go well, I feel like.
If you're planning on drafting a quarterback next year and you just took this offseason to build up your offensive line, you're starting in a very good way. You're heading in a positive way for 2023 because you needed to build that offensive line. That offensive line Russell Wilson was taking a beating, so I think they're headed the right way. I just don't know if Pete Carroll will be there. I'm surprised he didn't leave this last offseason. But I just think the Seahawks are going to be probably a lower tier team. They'll probably have the top 3 draft pick and maybe Bryce Young from Alabama or CJ Stroud will be headed. Both LA boys. Maybe one of them will be headed to Seattle. But now, by the way, former Chargers quarterback Tyrod Taylor is now taking first-team reps with the New York Giants.
Whoa, okay.
So that's going to be interesting to see if Danny Dimes can hold him back or not, or if Tyrod will be starting again.
I am not surprised about that. I am not a believer in Daniel Jones, but before we move on, I think I forgot to mention Kenneth Walker has a hernia, so that's not good either.
Yeah, dude, for Seattle, it's just injuries after injuries, so it's getting a little rough. But now let's go with the Super Bowl defending champions, the LA Rams. They've gained, in the offseason, they gained Gilbert Manzano. Is he strong enough to help this team out? And help? No, I'm just kidding. But
provide better coverage. Yes.
What do you think is their biggest weakness?
The more I think about this roster, they're well off in a lot of positions, but I'm not convinced yet that they have enough at outside linebacker. I know they have guys who have potential, but they lost Von Miller, and they still have Leonard Floyd, but I don't know about Terrell Lewis. Can he stay healthy? Like today earlier, or was it Tuesday? He's already kind of banged up with his leg. Yes. Justin Hollins he's very fundamentally sound, but he can't get the sacks going. Chris Garrett has a groin injury. They have another guy named Daniel Hardy, but he was a 7th round pick. So it's going to be a revolving door opposite Leonard Floyd, and that is the biggest concern because you got to generate some pass rush. It does help. They have Aaron Donald in the middle and A'Shawn Robinson and Greg Gaines. They have a very good interior defensive line, but there's just that one weak link there. But other than that, I love what I'm seeing from Bobby Wagner. I'm pretty convinced that the secondary will be fine. That was a question mark, but I like the rookies they have. They're Aaron Kendrick and Jacoby Durant. They got Jalen Ramsey, obviously, Troy Hill back. So that is the one. It's like right tackle for the Chargers. It's just that one position at outside linebacker. They're just a glaring hole right there.
You can't keep them all. It sounds like running back is going to be running back by committee. Whoever has the hot hand, is that kind of what? Am I kind of on the right page on that one?
I thought so, and then Cam Akers and Darrell Henderson got hurt, and I know that Sean McVay is saying, "Hey, I have 2 starting running backs here, Darrell Henderson and Cam Akers." From my eyeballs, my test, Fernando, it seemed like they only had one. The one that was doing anything on the field was Cam Akers. He was productive. I didn't see much from Daryl Henderson. And all I hear about this guy is his past injuries. He's gotten opportunities to make the most of it, but he can't stay healthy. And now he has soft tissue issues, to rhyme there. And then Cam Akers has the same thing. It's just a really weird situation. So maybe your boy, Kyron Williams, steps up as a rookie running back. And it's interesting, Fernando, because it's gotten to the point that there might be some concern that Akers and Henderson might not be ready for the season, because they're going to hold out Kyron Williams, a rookie from the preseason. He's ready to go, but he won't play in the preseason insurance. Sean McVay hasn't decided just yet, but he's leaning that way because he needs the insurance of just in case. That's not a good look.
Can they repeat?
I think they have the talent, but when you start off with Matthew Stafford having arm soreness and you have some injuries already, it's going to be – that's a tough thing for now. To repeat, everything has to go right, and everything went right a year ago. It's like the field, the way they opened it up in the postseason last year went their way. It's going to be tough, but they definitely have the talent to do it.
I'll say that they won't, just because I think that it's too hard. It's hard on the body. I think sometimes teams need to recoup. But all right, real quick, AFC West, give it to me.
Oh, yeah. Forgot about the rankings. Yeah. Oh, man. Okay. It's just the more I kept talking about the Chiefs, the more I'm off. Fernando, I guess I'm going to make people happy with this. Chargers, Chiefs, Raiders, Broncos. 1, 2, 3, 4.
I'll go Chargers, Raiders, Chiefs, Broncos.
Wow, you changed your tune on the Raiders. Number 2.
I think that their offense is going to be high powered. The running back position, they have really good running backs too. I think that's the underrated part about them. But I really do think that the more Patrick Mahomes and these guys keep on talking about how high powered their offense is going to be, the more and more I'm kind of like, see, if you have to tell me and you're not going to show them, that tells me that there's something a little worrisome. So I'll say it's a surprise. Chargers win the division for the first time since 2009. And yes, Derwin James does get his contract extension, and the team is happy with it. NFC West, I'll go first. I'll go Rams, Niners, Cardinals, Seahawks.
I hate that we have to agree, but yes, I think it's kind of a weak division, huh, Fernando? It feels like it. I think.
And last year was such a like
3 teams made it
into
the playoffs. But it goes Rams, and there's a big gap after that. I think Trey Lance will make it work with the 49ers. And when you look at it from that point of view, they have the most talent, and I trust the coaches. 49ers number 2. Again, the Cardinals.
I can't.
There's something there, right? Like we can't really even explain it, but it's just a bad kind of smell there. Yeah, aura there for the Cardinals, and then obviously the Seahawks.
La birria no huele rica, no huele fresca.
Yeah, I don't know what you want to call it for the Seahawks, but when you have Geno Smith and Drew Lock cooking, I don't know what you call that. But
the only cool part that I remember is Drew Lock on the sideline, like rapping to who was he rapping? The Young Jeezy. Young Jeezy. Like that's the only cool part that I think Drew Lock ever did. Other than that, I just can't remember. But Gilbert, it's now time to jump to, in the words of Dan and Diego, una más. Let's jump over. And now, why have we been saying the word Gilberto a lot these last few this whole episode? Well, get a load of this.
I have 2 questions, but I'll start with Cameron Dicker. He did a little bit of everything yesterday. What did you see from Cameron?
He did awesome. So here's my first question for you. Do you want to be called Gilbert or Gilberto? Because I know I've seen people call you that before, but what do you prefer?
Well, my full name is Gilberto. You pronounce it well. Just roll your R, and we're cool with Gilberto.
Gilberto. Okay, I like it. G it is. All right.
I like it.
So that was Rams quarterback Sean McVay trying to
you mean coach?
Our coach, sorry, Rams coach Sean McVay. Sometimes they show him a lot like if he's a quarterback. He was trying to get into the ring and try and pronounce Gilberto. It's not easy, people. It's honestly like everybody probably thinks, oh, it's easy. No, it is not easy to pronounce this man's name. So he tried it. Gilbert, what are you gonna give him a grade or what are you thinking?
I just hate to be picky, but I just wanted to have some fun with it. I was like, I probably should have started with saying, hey, I'm cool with Gil or Gilbert. That's what most people call me. But it would be nice if you say Gilberto, just pronounce it that way. Even Gilberto is okay. I've gotten used to that. That's the least of my favorite, Gilberto. It's just so funny to me, Fernando, like how my name
is that what they called you in
evolved.
high school?
Yeah, a lot of people went, Gilberto, and I got used to the weird O there, and it's just weird to me how my name just evolves from having Gilbert to an O, and it's just like, oh, what's this? This O is just freaking me out here. So, kudos to Sean McVay for trying it, but I just keep laughing when he says Gilberto, and he's like, yeah, no, G it is. Like he's like, I can't do it. I appreciate him asking. I appreciate the effort. I mean, he wants to go with G. Gil or Gilbert, no problems here, Sean McVay. I appreciate you asking,
baby.
and shout out to Brandon Staley too for also trying and asking. I love when people ask.
Ain't nothing but a G thing, baby. Yeah,
there you go, Fernando, and nothing but an O either, apparently.
I'm telling you, it's a hard name to pronounce, but I give them both credit. I mean, hey, they tried it, and they're just gonna stick to the normal G or Gil or.
And I'll just say this one more thing, Fernando, because I don't want to be like a picky person about my name.
You are.
It's just one thing I did notice. Maybe I'll get a little serious here. It was cool to have my full name, a Mexican name, Gilberto, or a Spanish name. Sorry, we're not just Mexico taking over the world, but it's a Spanish Latino name, and to have it pronounced in a press conference setting, the NFL world, and people are like, oh, who's Gilberto? It was just cool to me, and it was kind of like a shout out to the culture. And what if my mom is watching a Rams presser or a Chargers presser and she hears her son's name pronounced that way? So I thought that was cool. And that's why I really appreciate the coaches for trying. But I don't want to be really picky and say, hey, you're butchering my name. But it's funny. Thank you, coaches, for trying. But it is cool to me to hear my full name on a big stage like that.
I know what it is. There's
it?
only one person that can pronounce your name correctly. That's that one person. You love the way they say your name. And I feel like that's the thing. You love the way Dan and Dago says your name, and he's ruined everything for everybody else for you.
Yeah.
Nobody can pronounce your name like that.
Yeah. You don't need to scream and go Gilberto and really long-winded, but I love your brother for hyping up the name. And yeah, even though he's changed the spelling to Gilberto with an H, but we'll end up about that.
That's a great one. Gilberto. Hey, that shirt is gold.
Yeah, eventually we're gonna have some shirts. So I see people like it. But before we leave, Fernando, I'm just excited about Combat Compas, the YouTube channel. I know we already plugged it. I'm excited about you being back home and what we're gonna cook with you being back home, full-time reporter here on the program. And we keep hinting, but now that we're kind of unveiling little by little the plans, you being back is a big part of the plan. So yes, subscribe to Combat Compas, subscribe to Compas on the Beat. We're building a network here, an empire, whatever, but we need subscribers. That was really help us keep it going.
And this week, like I said, we went to a WWE event. We got some good interviews. Honestly, I had a lot of fun interviewing some of these wrestlers. I mean, some of them, two wrestlers, literally they're a tag team. They broke out into an all-out argument where everybody was turning around looking at them about if the Rams won the Super Bowl cleanly or if the Bengals got screwed. And it was just the funniest thing ever. So guys, check it out. We have so much great content coming up. We have a lot of good stuff coming up, not just with the WWE stuff. We have some other stuff cooking with the UFC, with boxing. So we're definitely excited about Combat Compas. And then
the previews. We got the Rams and Chargers preseason.
That's where I was headed. And then on the football side, I know I'm a little long-winded. In the football side, we have Rams preview. They're playing the
Texans
this weekend. Davis Mills. I remember I asked a question last year and I said David Mills or Davis Mills.
The long neck.
Yeah, exactly. So he's a baller. He might be the gem of the draft that nobody's talking about. Maybe he leads the Texans to a better record this year. You never know. The Rams will be playing them on Friday.
You got it.
And then Chargers, Cowboys at 7 on Saturday. So that'll be interesting. And you never know. We have some stuff cooking with both the Chargers and the Rams. We won't say much right now, but just be on the lookout for that. We're so excited. We're so appreciative. Thank you guys for welcoming me back to California. I'm so excited to be back. This is home of the California burritos, home of the good Mexican food. And that's another thing too. We asked some wrestlers who are from Texas, that are Mexican. Hey, where do you like the best Mexican food? So we got a lot of fun stuff with these wrestlers. But
and also, Fernando, if people are watching and they hear, oh, Fernando's back, tweet at Fernando and welcome him back. That'd be kind of cool.
I appreciate that. And guys, be on the lookout. Hashtag Hasta Compas will be coming up soon. We want you guys to ask us questions, ask us whatever you guys want. It just doesn't have to be football. It could be wrestling. It could be anything, just movies, anything. I know some shows are coming out soon. Some people like the avocado ratings. So definitely we're excited about everything that we're cooking now at Compas on the Beat. But for right now, I think it's time we got to go. Gilbert, ¿sabes qué? Vámonos.
I feel more energy, Fernando, I think, because you're home. So, ya nos vamos, pues, vámonos.